Hello and welcome to week 2 of Biblical Civics. This is Josiah Magnuson, and thank you for coming back to continue to learn about what God says about civil government and how we as Christians can be involved. Now, this week is dealing with the biblical theology of liberty. The theology of liberty means the study of God in regards to liberty, and the fact is, liberty is based on the character of God himself. And so that's what we mean when we say the biblical theology of liberty. What the Bible reveals about God shows that his character makes liberty and freedom possible. And actually, more specifically even than that, not just God's character generally, but specifically the character of Jesus makes liberty possible. And we see 4 particular aspects of Jesus' character that are revealed in Scripture and that are also repeated in America's Declaration of Independence. We find that he is the lawgiver. The Declaration speaks of the laws of nature and nature's God. We see that he's the creator. The Declaration speaks of him as the creator. We see that he's the supreme judge of the world, as the Declaration says, and then we see divine providence, as the Declaration says. Now, each one of those has a very specific aspect. You actually have the laws of nature and nature's God dealing with the legislative, the creator dealing with the executive, the supreme judge of the world, obviously judicial, and then divine providence parallels more of the spiritual superintending work of God. So you actually parallel Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in that structure. And each of those is a presentation of Jesus. That's how Scripture presents Jesus. So what is it about each of these character qualities that it makes liberty possible? Well, you're going to see that in this study. Essentially, the idea of Jesus as our lawgiver means that divine laws are higher than human laws. If some man can tell you what to do, rather than divine laws being higher than any man, then tyranny is possible. But tyranny is not possible because we're all obligated to follow God's laws, not human laws. Secondly, Jesus is the creator. That means we each individually are created by him. We are not some product of either a cosmic accident, as evolution would tell you, or some kind of a social engineering project by aliens, as is popular today. Those are not things that are real. The reality is that Jesus created us each individually. He also didn't create the state as a commune or even a community, as that word is used a lot. He created individuals. And we see that beginning in Genesis with the creation of Adam. Adam was made as a man. And of course, then he also was created, Eve was created to be a helpmeet for him. But the individual was created first, and that is how God relates to us primarily, is on an individual case-by-case basis. And that has dignity and meaning, to be that individual with personal choice and personal rights and responsibilities. We see that Jesus is the supreme judge of the world. God will judge everyone by Jesus Christ. And that limits the power of government. Government does not have control over our eternal destiny. We're not to fear those who can only kill the body and not be able to kill the soul, but rather we're to fear him who can kill both the body and cast the soul into hell. And so that is a very powerful way to resist tyranny, is to remember that those people who are trying to oppress us and trying to tell us that we can't have freedoms, they do not determine where we will spend eternity. So their power over us is extremely limited in the grand scheme of things. And then finally, the divine providence. God provides for us. God directs our lives. He directs the course of events. And government does not do those things. Government does not have a say in the in our destiny. Government does not have a say in our choices. And government does not have a say even in the food that we eat, even in the things that are provided for us. Those are all things that God gives to us. He can use human means, but ultimately God is the source of all good things. So we need to remember that. And that also, then, in practical terms, if you apply that to our world, you realize that that makes liberty possible as well. Some people will take Scripture as some sort of a attack on human rights. It's very sad, but in reality, the way the Scripture presents it is everyone is equal because God is the one who has made all of us. We all are subject to the law of God, and unfortunately, we all have sinned against God. We've all broken those laws. And so the reality is that setting up governments, trying to force people to do things, trying to struggle in our own efforts to please God is not the solution. The solution is God's grace, which is freely offered to us. It's a difference between force and love. There's a place for force, and we'll talk about that more as we study, but God's main purpose here on earth is love, and that is something the government cannot do for you, is to show you the love of God. That's only shown through the cross of Christ, and that's why the church is there, is to present that message to you. And I hope that you have received that love that God has offered to you.